New at 10, another inmate on death row is scheduled to be executed here in Arizona.
The Arizona Supreme Court granted the state's request to execute Murray Hooper, who was convicted of murdering two people in 1980 on New Year's Eve.
Team 12's Bianca Bono joins us live from the Alert Center tonight. And Bianca, you spoke to a prosecutor who worked on this case decades ago.
Yeah, guys, prosecutor Joe Brownlee says the three suspects in this case were hired hitmen by the head of a Chicago crime organization. And this case involved the most tragic homicides he ever handled.
I'll never forget it.
Prosecutor Joe Brownlee can't forget the gruesome details.
Mr. Redmond was shot first, twice in the back of the head, and Mrs. Phelps was then shot twice in the head.
About to host a New Year's Eve party, Patrick Redmond and his mother-in-law, Helen Phelps, were murdered by three men who came into their home. Now, the only killer who is still alive is scheduled to die.
Before the killers left, Murray Hooper had a very large knife, and he slit Mr. Redmond's throat.
Brownlee says Hooper and the two others were hired by a Chicago mobster to carry out the killings. Documents show the mobster had an interest in Patrick Redmond's business, but Redmond had turned down the offer.
There were three victims in Arizona.
That third victim, Patrick Redmond's wife, Marilyn, who was also shot in the head that night, but somehow survived, becoming the key witness, identifying Hooper and the two other suspects, ultimately leading to their convictions in 1982.
Murray Hooper is one of the oldest inmates on death row.
Hooper's attorneys have been fighting his execution, saying no physical evidence links him to the crime and he has maintained his innocence, saying in a statement, quote, Mr. Hooper's execution should not be carried out until an analysis of key fingerprint and DNA evidence has been completed. Brownlee, however, says it's time justice is served.
There's nothing like an eyewitness who stood in front of a jury and pointed right at him. That's the man that shot me.
And Hooper is scheduled to be executed on November 16th, marking the third execution in Arizona this year. We're live in the Alert Center tonight. Bianca Bono, 12 News.
All right.